Caitlin Hart with East Idaho News. Today we learned that Lance Peck, the former owner of the now demolished Downard Funeral Home in Pocatello, has accepted a plea agreement for mistreating dead bodies, falsifying records, and sending fake remains of deceased people to their families. Lance Peck was initially charged with 22 felony charges and 63 misdemeanor charges after investigators found evidence of fraudulent activity involving missing anatomical donations inside Downard Funeral Home in August 2021. Peck initially pleaded not guilty to all of these charges, but now in 2025, nearly 4 years later, he has signed a plea agreement on May 16th, agreeing to a minimum of 3 years and a maximum of 10 years in prison. Peck did spend some time in local jail during this investigation, but the court records do not state whether or not Peck will receive credit for time served. The plea agreement is binding, meaning that if the court does not follow the recommendation, that Peck will have the opportunity to withdraw his plea. He's scheduled for a status conference on June 9th, where he's expected to officially plead guilty, and we will be at that court hearing. We have covered this case since day one, so if you'd like to read more about this case, head on over to eastidahonews.com, but I'll go over a little bit of the details about the plea agreement and the case. According to the plea agreement, prosecutors have agreed to amend count 1 for unprofessional conduct by a mortician, funeral director, or embalmer to say that Peck provided the family of a deceased person the purported cremains of that person, knowing that the cremains were not actually those of that deceased person. In July 2021, Idaho State University representatives contacted Pocatello police after a family contacted them regarding the body of their family member that was supposed to have been donated to the school for scientific research. The body was returned to Downard for cremation in April 2017, but the family never received the remains after that point. ISU then found that several cadavers had never been received, despite intent to donate paperwork being completed. The university told detectives they searched obituaries for other similar circumstances, and the school staff said they found 6 other people whose bodies were supposed to have been donated to the university but were never received. In this plea agreement, Peck will plead guilty in his felony case to 4 of the 22 original felonies. That includes failure to collect and pay overtax, perjury, offering false instruments for filing in a public office, and fraud by computer. In September 2021, Peck told investigators, he told Idaho Division of Occupational and Professional License Inspectors that the body of a man who had died on August 24th had been in a room at his funeral home until August 30th due to a lack of space in the refrigerator. He also told them that another body had been inside his drive-through garage since August 4th for the same reason. The inspectors moved that body into the refrigerator, but noticed that it was set to 57 degrees inside the refrigerator instead of the required 36 degrees. The next day, investigators called Pocatello police for help after they discovered that there were several unidentified bodies inside Downard, one of which was decaying on the floor inside of the garage. The next day, investigators also learned that the remains of 11 people were attached to documents that Peck had allegedly altered, where at least one body had had its corneas removed. At least one other body found was not attached to any documents inside the building. As for the misdemeanor charges, Peck is also pleading guilty to multiple misdemeanors regarding the Idaho Mortician's Code of Conduct, including misrepresentation or fraud in the conduct of mortician or funeral director services, violation of any state law, municipal or county ordinance or rule authorized under this chapter affecting the handling, custody, care, processing, or transportation of dead human bodies, right to control disposition of a body, refrigeration of a body, and records regarding cremations. The state has agreed to dismiss all remaining charges in the misdemeanor and felony cases, apart from the ones he has agreed to plead guilty to. As a part of the plea agreement, Peck also agreed not to object to any impact statements from any of the victims of the dismissed charges, so they will be allowed to speak in court. And he did not object to reasonable restitution. That said, according to the agreement, Peck will not be required to pay restitution for any uncharged conduct, and there will be no restitution on the counts where the statute of limitations passed before the charges were filed. So another aspect of this is that there will be no restitution in this case for any of the victims or families who are currently part of separate civil settlements with Beck, Downard Funeral Home, or anybody connected to that entity. Downard Funeral Home was actually demolished in 2023 and is now being used as a parking lot for POCATELLO high school students. We will be at the status conference that Peck is expected to plead guilty at, and we will keep you updated as we learn more. Thanks so much.